Okay. I'm back, so let's see if anybody shows up again. Wait. Oh, wait, no. Wait, wrong one. Okay. Yeah. Now, no. Hello. Hey. Um, I I don't know how to do this on TikTok. Um, yep, we're back. Wait, a second. Uh, uh, okay. Just want to do one little thing. Um, uh, Hi, everybody. Just wanted to say thank you for all the birthday well wishes. It was greatly appreciated. Thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. I can't thank you enough. Thanks. Okay. Okay. And just give me one sec. I want to get this in. Hey, hashtags and hashtags my birthday. Hey. Yep. Okay. And now I just gotta wait for this to go. And see, fine. Okay. And I'll go live another part. And let me do one more other thing. Let's see. Um, okay. Wait a minute. No, that's not what I want. Okay. No. Uh, I guess you can. Oh. Oh, okay, here we go. Uh, Uh, be right with you. Okay. This is always the saddest part. The last few minutes of my birthday. Oh, I know what I can have. A cupcake. I'll be right back. Which is the one you want me to fix? The one that's on the kitchen? Okay. All right. Oh, I took a cupcake. How did it taste? Yeah. I bought myself some uh, party cupcakes. My sister's going to get me another birthday cake at some point. Um, Either a sheet cake or well, there was only round ones at the store today that we saw, and the other ones were had yellow icing. So I'm guessing those were uh, 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 I guess those were no candles. No, don't usually put candles on my birthday cake. None of us do. My mom, my sister, and I. Um, Especially when I mean, we did have some a long time ago, but then I guess we kind of stopped putting them on our cakes. Uh, Hold on, one moment. Thank you for uh, okay, and, and boom. Okay, and yeah, uh, yeah. I think it's because we all got this notion of when you blow out the candles, you're actually blowing the germs onto the cake. I don't know, but yeah, we haven't put candles on our birthday cakes in quite some time. So I'll just say what I wish for right now. Okay, so that's it. Let's see. Take a little piece. Man, this thing is so small. I might take another one a little later. Hmm. Hmm. Not bad. I think what I'll do is after I oop, after I do this stream, after I do this stream, maybe I'll have a little bit of my uh leftover dinner. I had a little bit of a salad from Wawa. But then again, that would be might be kind of heavy. You know what? Maybe I'll just have a boiled egg. Yeah, That'll work. I'll have a boiled egg. Yeah, that would be better. Hold on a sec. And another. Ooh, time for my medicine. And another. Oh, uh-oh. Put that there from time being. Okay. Let's see. Yeah, this is it. This is the right one. I always have medicine to take at the end of the night. I try to keep my, since some of my medicine is be taken every 12 hours. I try to do it on a 12 to 12 setting so that I don't forget. I don't know why I got that from my in my head from Family Guy. And then I know it's Axel Foley from Axel F from Beverly Hills Cop. I think it's Beverly Hills Cop. Uh, if I could figure out how to do this Screen Pal screencast thing I have on my laptop, I would make it so that I could watch a One Piece episode with you. You know, at least the first episode, just so I can see what I'm getting myself into. Well, wait a minute. Maybe I could do it this way. Um, let's see. Wait. Okay. Ah, I can't believe I'm doing. Now, see if it was JJK, if it was Jujutsu Kaisen. Now that that was something. I gotta admit, I was totally wrong. I had been avoiding Jujutsu Kaisen for years. I mean, it came out back in what 2000. I had been avoiding it for 4 years basically, because to me it was just another macho bullshit uh, 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 male story about some loser who has to get stronger and train every day so he could fight some big bad evil. And I just wasn't having it. And I did read the prequel series, the one volume, Jujutsu Kaisen Zero. I did read that, and it wasn't bad, but I really didn't know what the hell was going on, because even though it was a prequel, I didn't know who any of these characters were. And I guess it was like you had to watch the whole series or read the whole manga in order to understand Zero. But I had nothing else better to do, and I was watching Netflix and I was bored, and I said, okay, well, let me see what this mess is about. And I gotta admit, the first episode grabbed me. And the next thing I knew, I was just binging all of the episodes. And it got to the point where after I was finished with season two, and it was so different from your other shonen shows, that I said, okay, when is season three coming out? Season three is not coming out for another 2 to 3 years, another year or two. What the hell? So I just said, okay, I need to know what's going on. So I pulled up the manga, and that's usually what I do when a show grabs me to the point where I can't stop watching, and I've watched all of the episodes. I've reached all the episodes, and there's nothing else for me to do but to sit back and wait for the studio to make more episodes. I pull up the manga, and then I start reading. I pick up where I left off. I had to do that with Dandadan, because the first episode I watched of Dandadan, all I'm going to say is just don't get too attached. That's it. That's the same thing that I said about the Walking Dead series. Don't get attached. I've had to learn that with some action shows. You know, you get attached to certain characters, and then when something happens, it's like no, and it hurts. I mean, it's like a gut punch. It's like the biggest rug pull ever. But that's all I'm gonna say. But it's good. I just I had to keep watching. I had to watch to the very end, and so now I gotta wait another year or two for season 3 to come out. Now, what was I? Okay, yeah, and let's see my usual anime. I did the most foolish thing a couple days ago. I went to watch. Uh, I wanted to watch an old anime movie, and the best site I go to watch anime is something called Watch Cartoons Online. But there's a problem with that. They updated their system about 2 years ago, and they have made it so that you can watch everything on Watch Cartoons Online except movies. If you want to watch a certain movie, yeah, if you want to watch a certain movie, you have to become a premium member and you have to pay a monthly membership. And I'm like, I'm paying enough as it is with my cable box. I mean, like I said, Comcast cable, rob you blind. It's like, why am I gonna have to? I mean, all I wanted to do was watch. Yeah, it is. It is whack. It's whack as hell. I wanted to watch one of my favorite animated movies from way back in the day, from one of my favorite groups, the Beatles, Yellow Submarine. I love the Beatles. I have been a big Beatle fan for years, and I was a little kid when John Lennon died, and I was just discovering the Beatles. I heard about them when I was little, and I saw like the movies that they did, and a Yellow Submarine was a favorite because it was a cartoon, and to me, cartoons back then were for kids. But I was, just starting to discover them when he was murdered, and it just hurt everybody, especially because, well, now they can't reunite. You can't have the Beatles without John. And then when George died from cancer, that was a real gut punch because George was my favorite Beatle. There was just something so cute about George, especially since he was the youngest. And so the Yellow Submarine, it was my favorite movie. So I went on to watch cartoons online, and I went to put it in, and it said, sorry, WCO now allows its users to only become premium members to watch this content. So you mean I could sit up there and I can watch one of my favorite shojo animes of all time, Revolutionary Girl Utena, which I'm not a big fan of Yuri and Shoujo Ai, but this is a good series. It really is. I can sit up there and I can watch all 39 episodes of Revolutionary Girl Utena, the TV series. But then when I want to watch the movie, I have to pay for it. No, 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 nope, no, no, hell no, no. Why? And see, and I wouldn't do all this because I got the DVD, but I've had the DVD from quite some time and it was scratched. And it gets all pixelated in the middle of it and it starts skipping and stuff. So I'm like, why am I going to pay for something that I've already seen? I just want to rewatch it, you know. It sickens me. I mean, it sickens me because that's one of the best streaming services to watch animation, because it's not just anime, it's also cartoons. It's all kinds of cartoons. I mean, you could go all the way back to Betty Boop. You can watch it from Betty Boop all the way down to Don Don Don. That's just how great that website is. But you got to pay for it to watch movies. All the other content is free except for movies. Oh, and certain OVAs. Oh, and then this one, really, what really bothered me was I watched a a movie that was broken up into three parts from the maker of Akira, and it's called Memories. And it had three parts. I watched the first part, which was really good. The second part wasn't too bad. It was annoying, but kind of good. And then when it came to watch the third part, that we're sorry, I require our viewers to become members in order to view this content. So I couldn't watch the last part, and then I had to hunt high and low on all these other sites to find it. And I don't like going to sites like Nine Anime and H Anime, and basically, yeah, and uh, uh, all these other sites, because you go in and it's just a breeding ground for viruses. And as soon as you know try to watch something, you hit the button to watch it, then all of a sudden all these ads come up. All these ads with these, big busted girls coming up saying, uh, Misty lives 12 miles from you. Would you like to get in contact with her? No, I don't want to get contact with Big Boobarella Misty. I want to watch anime. Yeah, and they're stupid and they're not real. They're not real. It's dumb. It just does nothing but waste your money and give you viruses. Yes, it is. It's horrible. Those sites like those are like this old music video from Aerosmith from back in the day called Sweet Emotion, which in the video there's some teenage kid on one of these old 976 numbers. That was a thing back in the day. You call 976 and you can speak to Big Boob Misty, and you talk to these people and do whatever, and then you hang up, and then you charged $10 for talking like 5 minutes, and a good time has been had by all, basically. But those girls don't look like that. They don't look like what's in the picture. Because at the end of that video, after that guy who thinks he's been talking to Big Boob Misty all the time has actually been talking to fat as hell Mabel, who has 6 kids running around, and she's ironing her clothes while wearing a moo. So it's not real. None of that mess is real. But it's true. None of this mess is real, but you got people paying for this stuff and they believe this clown mess. I mean, here you are, you think you talking to, some sexy ass. Hi, I'm Big Boob Misty, and I'm here to make all your fantasies come true. No, you're not. You're some fat as hell housewife just trying to make some extra scratch because your man is out drinking somewhere, talking to the real Big Boob Misty at some bar. You know, it's not real. It's just It's just stupid and it's embarrassing and it's dumb and it wastes money and I don't understand. I don't understand why people do that. And that's why I don't like going on to that's why I don't like going on to those websites because it's just stupid and it's a breeding ground for viruses. But when you're desperate and you want to see what you're looking at, you take the chance. And you know what really sickened me? What really bothered me was that I went over to my DVD collection and I looked at one of the DVDs and I forgot that I bought it. I bought it like about 2 or 3 years ago, and it's called Bento Box something or other, and it's a 10-hour DVD with a whole bunch of anime and movies on it. You know, like you'll have like a first season of Astro Boy, and excuse me, the first 5 episodes of Ultraman and all that kind of vintage stuff. And lo and behold, when I looked at all the stuff that was on it, and I mean, it's a 10-hour DVD, and I bought it from the dollar store. I got it for like $1.25, or at least $1 before the dollar store went up on its prices. Thank you, President Trump, 2016, 2020. Ugh. Anywho, when I looked at the content, one of the movies was Memories. And I was like, oh my damn. If I had just went over to my DVD collection, I could have popped it in the DVD and watched it instead of going through all this trouble, hunting high and low, looking for a website to watch, part of the movie. It really ticked me off, especially when I found out that the third part of the movie, when I watched it, it ended so suddenly that I was like, that's it? This is how it ends? And on those websites, a chunk of them don't have. Some of them have credits. Some of them have credits. Some of them don't have credits. This one, the credits was edited out. So when it edited, when it was finished, it just stopped. And I'm like, huh? Especially because part three was about 23 minutes long, whereas parts 1 and 2 were 45 to 50 minutes long. And it just, and plus I didn't like the way the animation looked at all. I really didn't. I mean, the story that it told was interesting, but I didn't like how it looked. And then it just ended so quickly that it was like a big old cock tease. And I went running up and down trying to find part three on other sites. And it was the same thing because I'm thinking, no, there's no way that this is how it ends. It can't. It couldn't be. And then I got desperate and then I went to Wikipedia and I looked it up on Wikipedia and I read the plot and it was the same thing. Same ending. And I was like, well, I'll be damned. Really? And then, just to know, I went through all that trouble and I had the movie the whole time. As you can see, my DVD collection, I had the movie the whole time on me. So, I may look at it again because the first part was really good. The first part was really good and it lived up to the title. And truth be told, if 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 they had added about maybe 20 to 30 extra minutes on that first part, that could have been the whole movie. It just looked good. The story was good. The characters was intriguing. It was just a little bit too short for it to be one long whole movie. And I would have liked it if it had been like at least an hour and 15 minutes long instead of 45 minutes long. But it wasn't bad. And it was from the maker of Akira. And Akira is one of my all time favorites. I got a funny memory with that. I don't know. Did you ever see the movie Akira? It's a classic. When people talk to someone who's learning about anime for the first time, people usually say, "Okay, if you want to look at 5 animes, series, and movies, uh, 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 look at the following 5 to 10 animes. Look at uh, Sailor Moon, Dragon Ball Z, Cowboy Bebop, Neon Genesis Evangelion. Okay, uh, for movies, watch Akira, uh, the first Ghost in the Shell, uh, and there's a couple others. Uh, okay, well, since you didn't watch Akira, I'm not going to tell you the whole thing. The only thing, yeah, yeah, but then they use that particular title. I would think it would get a copyright strike from that title alone. Or totally not a slime video. Not a I used to be reincarnated as slime. Okay, I get it. Um, I will say one thing. If you do watch it, I don't know what your gross out level is. I will just say don't watch the movie on a full stomach. It lasted a while. Okay. Um, don't watch it on a full stomach. If you've just like eaten something, especially if you've eaten something like spaghetti and meatballs or spaghetti and meat sauce, you know, don't watch it on a full stomach because it might turn your stomach um towards the end, towards the last 20 minutes because it's a really long movie. It's about 2.5 hours long almost, and the it can get pretty gross in parts. But it is a good movie. It's a classic. It's a classic movie, and I read the manga. And truth be told, as good as the movie is, it doesn't do the manga justice because there was so much more to the manga that's not featured in the movie. And that's how it always is. That's why you always hear people say, "Oh, the book was better than the movie was the book was better than the movie." But there was one part in the film I'll never forget. I was watching it. I was watching it a few years ago when my mom was still with us, and it was around this time. It was Christmas time actually, and at that particular time, my mom was getting a little bit, older, and she used to, put on the majority of the ornaments on the tree herself. But since she was slowing down, I was taking it up for her. Started putting up the rest of the ornaments up for her. My sister put up the tree. My sister puts up the lights, and then I started putting on all the decorations. And our tree has about 5,000 decorations, including lights. We have about 2 to 3,000 lights. and everything else is ornaments. Because my mom bought a lot of stuff for that tree. In fact, if you go on my channel, you scroll down some of the videos, you'll probably see a video that features my our family Christmas tree and my birthday cake. How big was the tree? Over well over six, about 7 feet. And then when you add the topper, depending on which topper we would use, it would push it up to about 8 feet, 8 to 10 feet. You have to step on a step ladder, to get up to the top to put on a topper. Uh, don't matter what don't matter what type of topper it is, you got to get on. You got to get on the step ladder, and there's all these decorations. I mean, we got birds, bows, bells, butterflies, a lot of stuff with the letter B on it. Flowers, stars, candles, uh, all kinds of stuff. And my mom bought a lot of stuff for that tree. A lot of stuff for that tree. That tree was her pride and joy. And when it comes to Christmas, although my sister she just didn't have the heart to put it up this year. She did last year, but she couldn't this year. So I told her next Christmas it's definitely going up. But anyway, I was decorating a tree, and usually when I decorate, I'll have on my laptop, and my mom and my sister, they'll be watching something in the living room, and I'll have on my laptop quietly, off in the distance, to watch while I'm decorating a tree. And one of the things that I watched was Akira. And there's this great scene in Akira, which is about the story of two friends who happen to be in a bike gang. And the bike gang got arrested one night, and their principal was called because they go to a school for troubled kids. And I guess instead of calling their parents, they called their principal. And the six boys were brought into the principal's office, and the disciplinarian was the track coach. And I had the volume up. I was looking at it, and my mom, she really wasn't paying any mind until she heard this one part of the movie. And the gym the track coach, he's reaming the boys out, you know telling them that if you think that you're going to keep getting away with these shenanigans, you got another thing coming. You have to have discipline in order to make yourself a productive member of society. Are you even listening to anything that I have to say? And a leader said, "You lost me halfway through, sir," trying to be a smart ass. And he just got pissed off, and he started smacking each of them across the face, saying, "You need discipline, smack, discipline, smack, discipline, smack, discipline, smack, discipline, smack, discipline, smack, dismissed." I mean, he whipped the shit out of them. And my mom heard this, and God love her, she sounded so cute. She said, "Boy, Robin, these Japanese cartoons you look at, they really are violent, aren't they? And they have a whole lot of bad language." It wasn't just what she said, is the way she said it. plus, she made the one fatal mistake you never do. You never say that one word to an anime fan, and she said it. She called an anime a cartoon. Not just a cartoon, a Japanese cartoon. You never, yeah, you never call an anime the word cartoon around an anime fan, they will go ape shit. But I didn't, and I just thought that she was just so cute the way she came. She just came off so naive and so cute that there was a part of me that just wanted to pat her on top of the head and say, "Oh, bless your heart. Oh, sweetie, you don't even know the half of it." These Japanese cartoons you look at, they sure are violent and they have a lot of bad language. And we weren't even at the violent part yet. I mean, if she thought kids getting the shit slapped out of them, getting their face slapped was violent, she didn't want to see what the rest of it was about. I mean, she had a high threshold for violence and stuff in cinema. Uh, uh, but anime was something that she was not familiar with. And to her, they were just Japanese cartoons. To her, something like as much as you love One Piece, to her, One Piece was like Bugs Bunny. It's like watching a Bugs Bunny cartoon to her. I mean, I'll never forget once I had on the TV version of well, that was her. I mean, she was a mom. She was the mommiest mom who ever mommed, especially when it came to the world of anime. She was a mom, and she didn't know like what we know. She couldn't understand why I was going to anime conventions and saying things like, "Well, aren't you too old to be going to these conventions, traveling out of state to go look at cartoons?" And I'm like, they're again, they're not cartoons. They're anime. They are very, very adult. And there are people who are older than me who go to one of the last times I went to Otakon, I saw a guy who was cosplaying Master Roshi from Dragon Ball Z, and he was accurate. He looked like Master Roshi. And there was another oh, I forgot what his name was, but the old man character in Hunter x Hunter, the one with the very long earlobes, and you always know that an elderly anime character, just because they're elder, him exactly, he was also accurate. And I mean, and these were men who were in their somewhere between 60 and 70, and they were cosplaying as these characters and they looked good at it. I don't know if they entered the competition, but they were accurate. And there's always that prevalence in anime where um, an old man or an old woman, just because they're elderly, you think that they're weak. Well, over here in America, yeah, our old people are very weak, except for those precious few who work out and exercise all the time. But even with them, they lose a lot. But in anime, now I don't know what the Japanese men and women are like over in Japan, those who are elderly who have been martial artists for all their lives. I don't know what they're like in real life, but in the anime world, you always know that just because a character is elderly, don't think that makes them weak, because they're always the strongest ones. You know, I watched one of the anime I mentioned earlier was called Delacoe's Nursery, which was about a group of noble vampires who were trying to solve a brutal serial killing of vampires. and it was like a cross between Interview with a Vampire meets Silence of the Lambs meets Barney. I know that's an odd mashup, and I know that doesn't sound like reality. It doesn't sound right. It was wild, but that's what it was. It was a cross between to me. It was a cross between Interview with a Vampire, Silence of the Lambs with Barney. It was about this group of vampires who were trying to solve a series of serial killings of vampires, but all the men in this group, and it was just four of them, all the men in this group were young fathers. They each had a child between between the ages of 0 and 7. The oldest child was 7. The youngest child was about 6 months. And the wife of the leader had died. She had been killed by this guy's friend who was in this group because she was basically turned. She was already a vampire, but she was turned by another vampire. And this particular vampire was going, once he turned her, he was going to make her do his bidding. And the first thing he told her to do was kill your family. And so this guy's friend killed her to stop her from killing this whole family, which had included a newborn baby. So, uh, in this anime, you have these four guys who are vampires. They're nobles, and they're basically detectives, and they're trying to find out why all these vampires are being, why they're being killed left, right, and sideways. But they're also fathers, and the leader of this group wanted to take his duty of being a father seriously because his wife asked him to. It was her last request. The other men in this group, they're like, oh, just leave it up to the nanny. But this guy didn't want to do that. So he wanted to balance his work with fatherhood. And it was a pretty interesting series. But he also did have a nanny who helped him, and he also had a butler. And the nanny was about 60 years of age, and the butler was about 70 years of age. And I think they were both married. It didn't really say, but they were close. You kind of assumed that they were together. And the young father was on a balcony at one point with his 6-month-old son, and he had gotten very exhausted and very tired from doing all this work and taking care of his kid, not only his kid, but his friends' kids, because they all started taking turns helping each other take care of all of the children. And he was also developing like a sickness, like a flu or something. And he suddenly fell off the balcony while he was holding on to his infant. And the butler on the ground, he saw it. Now you got this little elderly man who looks like he's got all kinds of arthritis in every bone of his body. And yet he dashed off, shot over to the house as the guy was falling to the ground with the baby, caught them both, and did the coolest slide across the garden rather, with this 30-year-old man and the 6-month-old baby in his arms. He caught two people, an adult male and the baby. And this dude was like decrepit, like 70 to 80 some years old. And he managed to catch them like that. and you just knew it. The first time I saw the guy, and as much as everybody was talking smack about this old geezer, I said, "Now you watch this old geezer. He's gonna look like he's weak as shit, but I bet you he's like the strongest one out of all of them." And I was right. It's like I can write this shit in my sleep. So it's it's an interesting dynamic. It's called Delico's Nursery. That's what it's called. The manga, however, and this is its real name, the manga, however, is called Trump. Trump is an abbreviation for it is pretty cool. Trump is the abbreviation of the word the true vampire. It's a combination of the words true and vampire. So and it's a manga series and it's a play. And truth be told, I look back on it, I said, I knew I shouldn't have watched this shit before the election. I must have doohickeyd us and not realized it. Yeah, something. I mean something, but no, that's what it's called. And the anime that I just told you about is basically a prequel of the manga, because in the manga, that little baby, the one that I told you about that fell off the balcony with his dad, that little baby uh, is going into high school, and he's now off at a boarding school where he meets the guy who will become his best friend. They say best friend, but let's be honest. Let's be real. I don't know if if it's a shonen ai, but it is a fantasy. It's kind of a romantic shojo type fantasy. Um, um, and the manga is about a group of boys at this school who are all vampires. They all from nobility, and they're going through their version of puberty. What's their version of puberty called? Ah, it's called they're in their cocoon phase, which sounds weird, but also kind of cool. And when this young vampire goes through puberty and they're in their cocoon phase, it makes their vampire powers go all out of whack, because of hormones. And, because teenagers are wild as fuck. I know I was an ass when I was a teenager. I don't even want to. I don't even want to think about it. I mean, I didn't do a lot of bad stuff when I was a teen, but I do know that my hormones were just out of whack. But in this group of vampires, when they go through their cocoon phase, uh, um, they also start hallucinating, and their powers just get really, really out of whack. They tend to hallucinate. They can become super strong. They can enter the dreams of other people. Uh, uh, they can, they can, they can project dreams onto other people. Like they can give a vampire a happy dream or a nightmare. Some can only just look into other people's dreams. It's wild. It's really, really wild. And let's see, what's one of the other things that what else they could do? And I mean, there's just a lot of weird shit that goes on in the manga, and I just started the manga. The anime takes place about 15 years before the manga, when the main character is a baby. The main character from the manga is a minor character in the, well, supporting character in the in the anime, and he's about 6 months old, and he's with his dad, and his dad's friends, and the children of his dad's friends. So yeah, I wish they could have picked a better name. It gets on my nerves. I can't stand it. Uh, 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 but it was a pretty good series. Oh, and the manga is is also a play. Actually, if I remember correctly, the play came first, and then it became a manga, and then it became a prequel anime. And it wasn't bad. It's um the anime was pretty good, and it was very beautiful. Great settings, great costumes, beautiful makeup. I mean, it's like it was like Interview with a Vampire times times 100. Yeah, wow was right. In fact, I didn't even look at the 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 remake, the TV series of Interview with the Vampire, which I know is more faithful to the book, because I read almost all of Anne Rice's Vampire Chronicles. But bringing Lestat from a the 18th century to being a 19th century vampire, um it didn't sit right with me, especially because I do remember, if I remember correctly, they did go into the 19th century together. But I don't know. I would probably have to I would probably have to read that book all over again. But the first five are great. And I read almost all of her Vampire Chronicles going up to Blackwood Farm. And I know she had a few more books before she died. But Blackwood Farm was the last book I read from Anne Rice, because I remember I started reading it when I moved to this particular neighborhood. Because I remember reading this book in this room, and it was just a page turner. It was a page turner. But I'm a sucker for anything with vampires in it, except for Twilight. I couldn't stomach that. I and you know what the word and you know what the funny thing is? The irony is, the first Twilight movie, when it came on cable, it premiered on my birthday. I didn't look at the movies. I saw one clip of one of the later movies after Edward and Bella finally tied the knot and they had their wedding night together, which was the stupidest bullshit I've ever seen in my entire life. But when it came to the book, no lie, I did try to read Twilight, and I couldn't even get through the first chapter. In fact, I couldn't even get through the first 2 pages. I mean, when I was reading it, at one point, I'll never forget this. Stephanie Meyer actually wrote the following sentence: "My mom looks like me." That's how you describe yourself? Okay, look, I can understand it if you were describing yourself and you say that, you and your mother have a resemblance. Like my mom and I, we had the same color hair, chestnut brown, same eye color, dark, brown, uh, same cheekbones, basically. Not the same nose. My nose is kind of uh, fatter. Hers was, longer and leaner. Um, uh, and voice wise, everybody always says that my mom, my sister, and I, all three of us sound alike, exactly alike. Like if you talk to us on the phone, you couldn't tell who was who, and you would mess up. You know, we've experienced that a lot. In fact, the friend I told you about earlier who said he hated One Piece, uh, uh, he actually called me one time and wanted to brag about the ménage à trois he just had. Well, three-way. But he wasn't talking to me at that time when he was talking about this three-way. He was talking to my mother. He mistook me for my mother. He mistook my mother for me. And he's telling her all this. Yes, it was wild. And see, my mom, she's no slouch. It was no big thing to her, you know. But to me, when I find this out and my mom tells me what happened, and that and she was trying to stop him, and my friend, he's an idiot. Once he starts talking about something about his personal life, he just can't shut up. And and when she got through to him, she said, "Sweetie, this isn't Robin." And he literally stood there and said, "Not Robin? No, this is her mother." Click. That phone call, it was like it never happened. He just got off the phone quick, fast, and in a hurry. And I told him, when you least expect it, I'm whipping your ass. Yeah. Yeah, you can laugh. I'm like, I'm whipping your ass for this one. What made you, why? First of all, why would you tell any of that shit to anybody? You just wanted to brag, didn't you? Well, yeah, but why me? Don't you have somebody else? Don't you have somebody else you can tell your filthy sex stories to? Why do I gotta hear it? Why do I gotta hear this shit? And then you say all this shit, and I'm not even on the phone. You're talking with my mother. I don't want to be the homie. Why do I gotta be the homie? There's a whole bunch of other homies out there. Why me? What about me says homie? You the homie. Oh, good Lord. But I went on this tangent because I was talking about Stephanie Meyer. And the thing of it is, she wrote the sentence, "My mom looks like me." And I'm like, well, did you give birth to your mother? How does this work? How does your mom look like you? Shouldn't it be you look like her? If you're gonna, I mean, it's bad enough you didn't describe any of the physical traits of what your mother looks like to clue us into the fact that you and your mother look alike. But then you write it in such a ass backwards kind of way, talking about my mom looks like me. You didn't give birth to your mother. She gave birth to you. You look like her. And once I read that, I was like, I'm out. I I'm a writer myself. I'm not published like her. I mainly work most of my writing, most of the publishing that I have done in my writing was when I worked for a newspaper in my hometown. But I've never written a fictional. I've written fan fiction and I've written, fictional stuff when I was a kid, but I never wrote an actual fictional story that got published. But I could not believe that this woman wrote this drivel and then got famous for it, made all kinds of crazy cheddar for it. I don't get that. Now, J.K. Rowling, that bitch I'm jealous of, especially because she's such a horrible person. But she built a fantastic world. She built a J.R.R. Tolkien type world with Harry Potter. Now, granted, I didn't like the fact that she put up a wheel of misfortune and spun the wheel with the characters' names on it and threw a dart to determine who was going to die in the next chapter. Zoom. The dart landed on Dobby. Zoom. The dart landed on chapter 23. Okay, make a mental note. Dobby the house elf will die in chapter 23. I mean, that's how she did that last book. She did that last book dirty. I didn't like that. I mean, I get it. People do die in war. It happens. But bitch, you didn't have to do it like this. I mean, she just did her characters dirty at the end. And she, she said, well, she was mourning the loss of her mother at that time. And at that particular time, my mom was still alive. And, and looking back on it, I can understand how she felt because, I guess she was under pressure to get this particular book done because of all the fanaticism around the other books, and she needed to get it done. She needed to get it out of the way. And she just did whatever. But I still think she did her characters dirty. And the one thing that I still do not agree with to this very day, I do not approve of her hooking Ron and Hermione up and Harry and Ron's little sister. I didn't like that bullshit. I didn't like that at all. It just didn't match. I could have seen Harry with, I mainly saw Harry with Hermione. I also saw him with other girls after he broke up with Cho. I thought Looney Luna would have been a good fit, but Luna going off with uh, uh, Neville Longbottom, that was good because they were both the oddballs of the story. Hell, I would have approved if she had gotten with Draco. And I know there's a big Harry Draco fan base out there. I would have approved that. But with her hooking uh, Harry up with Ron's kid sister, especially after she gotten so freaky deaky close to the black kid. I forgot what the black kid's name was. Um, well, I have to look him up later. But I mean, it was like her hooking up Harry with Ron's kid sister was basically saying basically having Harry hook up with Ron. And I would have approved of that. I would have approved of him hooking up with Ron. More so, I would more approve of if he had to be in a homosexual relationship, a yaoi relationship, I would approve of Draco first and foremost. But the girl that was for him was Hermione, because Hermione was basically like Harry's mother. She had all of the same qualities and traits as Harry's mom. And you know what we always say that people tend to go for other people that remind them of their parents. And I know that sounds weird, but of all the people that he was closest to the both of them, but female wise, he was the closest to her. So having him all of a sudden, you get it, okay, because having him all of a sudden hook up with, you know, Ron's kid sister. I mean, especially since he took all that time only seeing her like a kid sister. But then once she started dating, then he starts getting jealous. What? Nah, I ain't like that. I didn't like that at all. I did not like him getting ended up marrying Ron's kid sister, and her and having Ron and Hermione hook up just didn't seem right either. You know, in fact, the one person I did think would have been good for Ron was the French girl who ended up marrying Ron's older brother. And I was like, what is J.K. Rowling doing? What? What? It was after the Goblet of Fire that she was doing stuff with the characters, especially with their love life, which pissed me off, and I didn't like it. I just wasn't down for it. I wasn't down for it at all. But the story itself was great. And then when we got to that last book, I was like, you made one hell of a series, and then you had to fuck it up. You know, it's like how people were with Game of Thrones. You know, people, mad at the ending of Game of Thrones. I never got mad at the ending of Game of Thrones. I actually liked the ending of Game of Thrones. I know it didn't add up with what was in the story, but I liked it. But then again, I could see why people got upset because when you're so used to something being one way in the book and then you make it another in the movie or anime or whatever, it's just like a betrayal. And that's why Cowboy Bebop live action failed horrifically, because the original story was so butchered that it didn't it didn't even seem like the original story. And I didn't even like, oh no, I know I shouldn't do this because you really shouldn't hate on a kid. But I just thought that the girl that they hired to be Ed, just didn't look like Ed to me. I mean, she looked too old. And I mean, I don't want to hate on a kid because she's a child, but what I saw of her in the trailer, because her she didn't Ed didn't come in until the last episode, which is the last episode I skipped. Um, the girl that they picked for Ed didn't match who I thought could be Ed, you know. But I could be wrong. I could be wrong. I might see the little girl and she might have been an extra. She would have been a great addition. And speaking of Netflix, when the hell are they going to get Stranger Things out? The fifth and final season. I mean, damn, I didn't even know that number 11 got married. I was like, what? It wasn't until my sister told me over the summer. And she was like, nah, didn't you hear? She got married. When did this happen? What do you mean she got married? They was just little kids when they started this shit. I can't forget. I'm paying all this money for Netflix, and let me get Stranger Things is another show that, like JJK, I wanted nothing to do with. But as soon as I saw that first episode, I got locked in. That it just I just started that first episode, and the next thing I knew, a couple of days had passed and I finished the whole series. And I have been waiting for season 5 for the past what 3 or 4 years, and you got the main character who was a little girl at the time getting married to John Bon Jovi's kid. Nah, that ain't right. That ain't right at all. I mean, how they gonna do this? Because they were all teenagers. They were like high school age by the end of season 4. And so you now got these kids in their early 20s getting married and having babies and shit. And I'm like, well, when are we going to go back to the high school with them at the upside down? And I love that show because I was becoming a teenager at that time period. So a lot of stuff that they experienced as an 80s teen, it sit well with me and my group. But yeah, I mean, some of the stuff I look at on TV and in movies, and I say to myself, damn, I should be in Hollywood. I should be writing this stuff, because there's some things that come along and you watch so much of it that you could tell what's going to happen, even if it is a really good show, even if it's really good, you still, yeah, mood, I guess. Sometimes I don't understand what that means, but I think I get it. Um, um, Oh, okay. Oh, I did not realize that. I was thinking it as more of its actual meaning, like a vibe. You know, like when I think of mood, I think of oh, okay. I didn't get that. I didn't realize it meant that either. When I think of the word mood, I think of these. I think of this thing that used to be out in the 70s. And when this thing came out, I was like little. I didn't know what the heck I was looking at. All I know, it was a cool thing. It was and my mom had one. It was called the mood ring. And look this up. This is a real thing because I'm gathering that you're like maybe like late teens, early mid 20s, maybe. Um, a mood ring is a ring. Oh, you know? Okay. Yeah, it was a big ring with a great big stone, and it changed color depending your mood. So, if you were mad, it would turn red. If you were jealous or annoyed, it would turn green. If you were, yeah, it is. But it was so cool. I know my mom let me have hers, but I think by then the color change gimmick just stopped, and then it became this bluish, blackish, purplish thing, you know. If it stayed blue, it meant you were like a general state of calm, that you were all right, everything was cool with you. But the it when the mood ring broke, I guess if you could call it that, um, it was like bluish, blackish, purplish, greenish kind of thing. Mm-hmm. But they were fun to have. I wonder if those things are still around. I'd have to look that up. Wait, let's see. And yeah. Oh, that's a different one. This is, wait a minute. Let me see. See if I can find, let me see if I can find one from back from what I remember. Yep. Let's see. This thing, it was like that, or a little bit thicker. Oh, only one left. $9.30. Yeah, it's probably just about how much my mom paid for it too. Here, no, this is it. This is the real one. This is the one she had. If you can, if you can see it, if you can see the band. Pop-up shops and events at our schools that will sell that and other novelty item knickknacks. Yeah, ours is more grayish. Yeah, now these days you want something. Oh, $10. That sounds about right. Now these days you want something like that, you got to go to a head shop, because head shops sell all kinds of weird ass shit. I should know. I worked in a head shop once. Actually, that wasn't a bad job. I actually liked it. Except for that day when that summer day when that bee flew up my work shirt. It flew up the sleeve of my arm, and I didn't realize it. And I was trying to put up some t-shirts, and it stung me in my bicep. Ugh, stupid ass bee. Ooh, well, it is now about after uh one. Oh, I forgot my boiled egg. Hold on 1 second. Mm. So yeah, there's all kinds of weird ass stuff that I can tell you about. Tales from the Robbie verse. I like that. Hmm. Maybe I'll call my memoirs that. Tales from the Robbie verse. So yeah, there's a whole lot of weird shit that I've seen and experienced and witnessed. Uh, Lots of concerts that I went to. Whole lot of concerts. Way too many concerts. Yeah, that's why I need a hearing aid now. Is there anything else that you would like to know? Because I feel like I don't want to keep you up because it's now after 1. And I don't know if you have to go to school or work in the morning. So whenever you want to crash out, you just let me know. I'm fine with it. You don't have to stay on here for my account. Oh, me too. Oh, my sister's asleep. Hold on. Okie dokie. I hope you don't mind that I had to uh, turn off my lamp. Uh, my sister is asleep in our mom's room, and I closed the door so it's ajar, so she won't hear me as much. And I'm gonna try and bring my voice down some. And I had to turn off the light because I didn't want the bright light to disturb her. So if you're okay with that, let me know. And like I said, anytime you want to crash out, that's fine. Okay, I gotta see where the battery is at. 28%. Okay, I got a little bit more time before the battery conks out, and then I'll have to take and plug it up. Uh, wait, is this? Yeah. So, is there anything else you want me to tell you or explain or talk about or whatever? Because as you can tell, once I start talking, it's kind of hard for me to shut up. But I'll be doing a few little uh, routine things before it's time for me to hit the sack. The one thing I can't stand is going to sleep in a messy room. I have this I have this thing about me. Uh, uh, Before I go to bed and before I walk out of the house, my room has to be neat and straightened up. I don't know. I don't know why that is. Oh well, no, I think I do know why. I know why I have to do that. It stems from me being in the hospital all the time. Uh, uh, I'm sure I've told everyone in Lisa's chat that I have sickle cell disease, and that I've been in and out of a hospital for about half of my life, basically. Um, and when I've come home from the hospital, uh, the one thing I want to do is just climb right into bed. You know, I just get so exhausted just from the act of coming home from the hospital that I don't want to do anything else. And I found that, uh, when I come home, I would be so exhausted from whatever activity, out walking or shopping or hanging out with friends or even being in a hospital, that I would get, you know, tired and come home and I see my room is a mess, and then I'd have to straighten it up before I get into bed because then I wouldn't feel comfortable. And the only time I will get in my bed if my room looks like an absolute disaster is if I'm sick and tired, or just plain tired, and I just crash out. I just don't feel like doing anything else. But if I have enough energy, if I have enough energy, then I'll straighten up my room before I get into bed. And that's usually, um, you know, folding up the clothes I had on, and uh, putting away some, like the stuff I ate, dishes I ate, and cups that I drank that I'm no longer using, that kind of stuff. I do that because uh, I'm exhausted and I just don't feel like doing anything else. Let's see. Hmm. I think I'll paint my nails a little later. I mean, well, not right now, because I don't. I want to smell all that pink when it's time for me to go to sleep. But uh, 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 but tomorrow, but in the afternoon, I think I'll do my. Where's my pill? Ah, here it is. My pillowcase. Um, let's see. Hmm, okay. Uh, Tomorrow. Uh, uh, I have to take out a folic acid for tomorrow, and hmm, uh, uh, okay. And wait, what am I doing? I don't need an extra one of that. Hmm. Looks like I have an extra one. Okay. And oh, this must have come out of my makeup bag. Yep, it had that. Let's see. Have you heard of CRISPR Case 9? CRISPR Cas9? No, no, I haven't. What is it? Is it an anime, or is it a like a SP? What's it? SPC thing? Uh, I know uh, my friend Lawrence, Mister Three Way. He likes that SPC paranormal thing. Is that what it's about? Take off these shoes. That sounds that sounds wonderful. Um, it's just that I've heard so much about different things, different techniques to try and rid someone of sickle cell disease. And for a while, there was a lot of talk of bone marrow transplants that was able to eradicate sickle cell disease. And it was done on a 12-year-old boy that successfully treated him. And I don't know if it cured him or if it uh, made it not, made it go, I guess, like a recession, if I could use that word. But I do know that my mom asked me to ask uh, the doctor I had at that time, a wonderful doctor named Dr. Hout. Unfortunately, he is no longer with us. And I asked him about it. She wanted me to ask. And I said, well, I don't want to get your hopes up or anything because I know that if I do, your hopes get up and my hopes get up. Hearing bad news is going to be devastating. And like all mothers, she said, well, it wouldn't hurt to try. It wouldn't hurt just to ask. So I said, okay. And I asked, and my doctor told me that it wouldn't be beneficial for me because at that particular time I had already reached adulthood. And that type of procedure was best on a child, someone who has, time to grow and grow into their bodies and that sort of thing. And he also said that trying a treatment like that on someone who is older uh, um, um, increases the chance of death. And I don't want to be anywhere near that anytime soon. So I told mom about it, and she was disappointed, but she was glad that at least I asked, because we were able to learn something new about it. And my mom was very big on medicine, not just because I have sickle cell, and because she had a lot of health problems, but she always wanted a career in medicine. She wanted to become a surgical nurse, and that was one of the reasons why she took Latin, a dead language, in high school, and was very good at it, because a lot of the medical terms is in Latin. And I think I think my high school at that time offered Latin as a class, but I because I figured Latin, dead language. I'm not going into medicine anytime soon, so I'll pick uh, French. No, I'll pick Spanish, because half the speaking world is just about speaking in Spanish, and another part speaks in French, which I took in college. Um, Now that my mom isn't here, and since she wanted to be a medical nurse, and she read everything and anything she can get her hands on about things that happen, um, medical treatments for her, medical treatments for me. And I still think we have the folder with all the newspaper clippings that my mom saved over the years about sickle cell disease. And she was so knowledgeable that I would ask her advice on anything, especially when it came to medicine, even though she wasn't in the field, because she always educated herself about medical topics. She always read stuff. She always watched TV shows, documentaries. I mean, I remember the first time when they showed a back surgery live on PBS, and my mom sat through the whole thing. And I remember peeping over at the TV one time and saw this back, opened wide up, and the spine and everything. And it freaked me so bad I could feel myself getting ready to pass out. I just got really, really dizzy, and I just grabbed onto the dining room chair to stop myself from falling out in the floor. But now that she's not with me, I don't. To me, I don't have a wealth of knowledge to ask, to tap. And my sister is taking very good care of me. She's taking exceptional care of me, but uh, uh, she's not like as knowledgeable as the way mommy was, with collecting every single article. In some ways she's getting like mommy, but she doesn't have that medical mind, that mind, that medicine mind that my mom has. And I would be scared to ask for anything about advice about what to do in that area. But it sounds interesting, and I can write that down. Let me see. Let me pull up my word application, my writing app. Yeah, WPS. I got WhatsApp. I didn't know that. I haven't had WhatsApp, uh, or was it, or Kick something, uh, on my uh, phone and laptop in years. Let's see. I let's see. This is called. Wait a minute. Oops, wrong one. There. Okay, now back into the WhatsApp thingy. Yeah. Uh, oops. Uh-oh. Um, how do? Oh man, I can't remember how to copy and paste. Okay, wait. Maybe if I do it like this. Yeah, there we go. Yeah. Okay. And uh, uh and okay. And one more. I'll do. Ooh. Okay. Okay. And okay. Okay. Even the most prominent and well researched aspect of gene therapy at the moment. But there's other forms of gene therapy exist as well. It's somewhat newish. You mind me asking? You're at least like in your 20s or 30s, right? Uh, Wait a minute. Uh, uh, oh, okay. That's what I thought. Wait, how do I say this? Okay, yeah. Okie dokie. Because this just hearing that said to me, "Wow, that doesn't sound like somebody who's in high school. It sounds like an adult, and that's fine." Okay, let me put my clothes here. Well, I have it being like 10 to 12 years old, but it's showing promise. Well, I'm seeing my doctor next week. Maybe I'll ask her about it. Like I said, I don't get my hopes up on these kinds of things, since I'm an adult. But I'm all for it helping kids, it's really helping kids because I've often said, I've told all my friends, those who are African American, even those who are white, because it can show up in people with Mediterranean genetics, but it is rare. Um, um, I've told all my friends, if you suddenly, get hooked up with someone, make sure, especially if you're getting serious, make sure that person has some type of um, test for sickle cell, because the one thing you don't want to do is to bring a child into the world that has to suffer with sickle cell disease. See, my parents didn't know any better. They didn't know anything about it because at that particular time, it was just discovered. They were just started talking about it. So no one really knew what was going on in the world of sickle cell disease. And that was why my mom educated herself on it and learned everything that she could about it. I just, I'm just sorry I gave her so much trouble as a kid. I know it's all water under the bridge to her, but I feel guilty, you know, like I did something wrong. I didn't mean to, but my mom did a fantastic job bringing up my sister and I. And I'm happy we had her. It's like I said in her eulogy. She was the sun, and we orbited around her. And it's true, we really did orbit around her. She was our sun, which is one of the reasons why I wear this little charm. I think so. I know so. Um, I bought her this charm once, but when I was I think high school or early, either mid high school or early college age, and a little charm of the sun. And she said, "It's nice, I like it, but I don't wear silver jewelry." And I was like, "Wow, yeah, that's right. She doesn't wear silver jewelry. Majority of her jewelry is gold." So she told me, you hold on to it, you keep it. And I've kept it ever since. And I used to wear it like on a charm, like on my bag or on my wallet. But then I was so afraid that I lost it one time that I just didn't want to, bring it out in public anymore. But after and eventually I did get some sun charms that I ordered online, but this one I like the most. It looks better than the charms I ordered. And now I wear it around my neck. I've been wearing it every day. So I keep it tucked in my shirt so I don't lose it. I don't want to lose it. I think it would I think it would shatter me to pieces if I lost it. And one time I thought I did lose it when my mom was still with me. And even then, I felt horrible. And then I ended up finding it. Turns out it was on another keychain and it fell behind my bed. And it wasn't until I looked for something else that I found that uh, I I think so. I just get a little I just get a little I don't even know what's the word I'm looking for. I guess emotional, you know. Sometimes when I think about my mom, it's the second birthday I've had without her. But as I said earlier, I, I would love to hear her say, 50 some odd years ago today, I was in the labor with you, and it was so painful, and it hurt so much, and it took forever for you to come out. And I would love to hear one of her surprise attacks. One thing I could say, if you still have your parents with you, hug them tight, appreciate them. I don't know what your relationship is like with your parents. You know, I hope I hope you have a good one with your family. I hope all my viewers have good relationships with their family. But always keep that one around that can give you that really good laugh, you know, when you need it. And I gotta admit, the origin story of my birth, uh, it, as much as she used to get on my nerves with that, she cracked me up. She was very, very funny. You know, she was like that type who naturally made you laugh to the point where you think, wow, you should try stand-up comedy, but they know in their heart they couldn't do it, you know. She loved a lot of comedies as well. In fact, I was just looking at and talking about one of her favorites, and it's on Tubi TV, but somebody uploaded it and they put it under a different name. Uh, this is the YouTube movie title. Well, because I wanted something with the name Robin attached to it so that everybody knows it's me. Um, most of my web pages, some of my web pages when I first started went under Robin's Nest. Because mm, one time my mom and I were watching, my mom, my sister, and I were watching a soap opera, and the character's name was Lily. And her mom called her my little lily pad. And I was like, ew, that's a horrible nickname to be named after something that goes under a frog's butt. And my sister said, well, a nest goes under a robin's butt, and you're her little robin's nest. And I looked over at my mom, and she gave me this great big smile. It was the one time I was ever called Robin's Nest by either of them, but it was a really funny moment. And 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 after that happened, I blushed like 7 shades of red, and I, stormed off into my bedroom like, "You do make me sick." And the two of them started laughing. So, uh, I look back on it, and I started calling my first couple of pages when I got on social media Robin's Nest. And then one time that was taken by someone, so I went further and I said, well, Robin's Nest Egg. And I think that's how my live journal uh, came to be. I still have that live journal, but I don't write on it much. Maybe I should start using that again. Um, uh, and when I came to YouTube, I needed a name, and I figured, Well, Robin's Nest Egg is just too long, so I shortened it to Robin's Egg, and that's how it's been ever since. Uh, um, um, I did used to say on my old video, actually, I still do. On my old videos, I would say, "Hi, this is your girl, Lady Robin, and I'm live at the Robin's Nest." And that's how I started off um, just about every uh, YouTube video that I made, except for when I wasn't in my nest, as I call it. Like if I was out, I'd say, "Hi, it's your girl, Lady Robin, far away from the Robin's Nest this time," something like that. So I think when I redo my channel, I'm gonna go back into making videos like I used to, and I'll still keep the Robin's Nest. I've been thinking about wanting to change the name to something else because some of these people have really like clever names, or they have really unique names that kind of like stick out, even though you know it's not their real name, but it still works. Like one channel, uh, uh, a um, a crime channel by this kid named Dire Trip. Uh, that sounds great. That's a great sounding name. Of course, that's not his real name, but it just sounds really cool. Sometimes I think, does Robin's Egg sound cool? Should I change it to something different? So, I've been wondering about changing the name to something else, but then again, I just might just well leave it as is. It's become who I am now. Uh, and my channel used to be devoted to Michael Jackson, as you can see by the banner at the top of it. But now I feel like I've exhausted that subject. So I've been thinking about either doing politics or anime or potpourri, which is a mixture of all kinds of stuff. It'd be a mixture of anime, politics, Michael Jackson, and anything else I could think of. But I wanted to do something else besides just talk about Michael Jackson all the time. Although to a lot of my friends, it does seem like all I ever do is talk about Michael Jackson all the time. Mm, thank you. I try not to talk with food in my mouth. Hmm. Um. Well, at that particular time, well, a part of me always wanted to be uh famous. I wanted to be an actress, and I did, briefly had an acting career locally. Um, Social media was starting to open up, and the first main channels that I had was YouTube, Twitter, and Facebook. Um, yeah, it was mainly that three. And then I got into the chat world, the Michael Jackson chat world, and then I started getting into Tiny Chat. Oh, and also my live journal. I forgot about that. So yeah, I had those live journal, Facebook, YouTube, And oh crap, I forgot it already. Well, you get the point. And at first the channel was going to be me just talking about random things, and it was very low quality. A lot of my videos look like the way this live stream is now. Um, um, uh, and then when Michael Jackson passed, I had so much to say about him that I just felt like every time something came to my mind that I wanted to talk about, I'd share it with the audience. And it started growing in 2009. Um, uh, I was able to get a YouTube partnership out of it, but I don't think I ever really finished, the qualifications for, establishing a partnership. Uh, and and then after I had talked about Michael for about 2 or 3 years, um, I don't want to. I hate sounding like saying I grew tired of the subject, but I just felt that I talked so much about him and I talked about everything I knew and felt about him that uh, I was finished. I felt like I said everything that I needed to say about him, and then I stopped for a good while. And I stopped mainly to help. I mean, not just I didn't just stop. I just kind of stopped doing them. Sorry. And then I got busy helping my sister take care of her mom, and I started going out, making friends at night, at nightclubs, going out to goth clubs and dancing all the time. And I just felt that there was other things that I could be doing besides making YouTube videos about Michael Jackson. And I didn't think I was going to be doing it forever. And so that was the reason why I kind of like stopped and put everything else on the bandwagon. But I would like to get back into it. And I would like to talk about a lot of different things besides him. You know, he's an important part of my life. He's a very positive aspect on my childhood and an influence in my life that made me want to strive to do something and be something more, along with my mom and along with my family and friends. Uh, um, so I'll think of something. Uh, I a part of me wants to go into politics, on YouTube, but because everybody got an opinion about everything that's going on, and I feel like I'm going to have to do a lot of venting in the next 4 hours. I mean, 4 years. But I need to do other stuff just besides being on a YouTube channel. I need to be fulfilled by a lot of different things, and YouTube just happens to be one of them, and TikTok and Facebook and such. think he might be asleep. I never got into Beyblade because back then it became like a choice question. You know, you'd say boxers or briefs, uh, uh, Beatles or Rolling Stones, Beatles, the Ramones or the Sex Pistols, Pokemon or Beyblade, Pokemon. You know, Beyblade just seemed like, like another version of Pokemon. A lot of those gaming animes seem like that. Like for instance, I could never understand Yu-Gi-Oh because the first time I saw the trailer for it, I was like, "Huh? Okay, it's like battling pocket monsters like Pokemon, but we're doing math. So we're gaming with math." I mean, that's how it seemed. I don't know. I mean, the Dark Magician looked cool, but well, I understand. I'm sure. Yeah, I have a friend who loved Yu-Gi-Oh, Power Rangers, and what other anime? I can't remember, but Power Rangers and was his thing when he was growing up. Konami. I take it that's the studio that makes the game because I've heard of a company called Konami, and my friend, the one who I told you about, um he has told me a lot of stuff about Konami and how a lot of shows are in jeopardy because of it. Yeah, especially gaming shows and games in general. Like I used to do a podcast with the friend I told you about, and he did this one long video podcast with mainly just the words coming out of his mouth. He didn't even write anything down, which you really should. You should write some type of script. And he was just he was just on about telling about Konami, the company, and why it was ruining their games. And one game in particular, which took this one creator like a lifetime to make, and I think from what I remember what he said, he destroyed his own product to keep from Konami getting their hands on it or something like that. but he told me a lot about how the company was ruining the games, and it was also screwing over the game makers. I'm like, well, that's not good. That really sucks. But some corporations are more about making that cheddar than they are about the well-being, the well-beings of their uh, creators. Their video game creators, and that should be first and foremost. Excuse me. That's it, Kojima. That's right, Metal Gear. So that's a good one. Right here. Right up. I used to be into video games a lot when I was younger. Uh, I had I had a system. I'm not gonna say what system because it will really date me. I mean, I'm more than likely I've already dated myself. But if I say what gaming system I had, it's really gonna do it. But no, I don't think. No, I don't think it was that. Um, um, but but as I got older, I kind of like got out of it. And the only other gaming system that I have had besides the one that I had as a teenager is a Wii. And I got that because my mom got me I think one Christmas she bought me the Michael Jackson Experience game, and I still have it. And I think what I'm gonna do is I haven't played it in such a long time that I think what I'm gonna do is after I have my knee surgery, I'll put it back on for therapy. And yeah, the only thing I'm sorry about is that I never got a chance to get the remote control glove. I'm sure I could probably find it somewhere on eBay, but if I do, it'll probably cost like anywhere between $500 to $1,000, and I don't want to spend that kind of money just for a digital cloth. Although it might be worth it, I don't know. Mm, I could have opened my sour cream. Next bag of chips. My favorite chips. But that's why, when I was mentioning earlier about e-games, um, I mentioned solitaire and e-chess. Uh, oh, but I did put two games on my laptop and on my phone. But then I had to take them off the phone because it was eating too much storage space. Um, um, One is called Hero Wars, and the other one is Envoy. And I guess I got suckered in because I liked the gameplay on the commercials, but there isn't the gameplay on the actual game isn't like that. I mean, it's similar on Hero Wars, but not like the way it was in the commercial. And yes, lays are really good. My favorite is lightly salted wavy because the chips are bigger and they're lightly salted and they last a little bit longer than regular potato chips. But I just bought some sour cream today to go with some of the burritos I got in my refrigerator and didn't think to open up the sour cream for these chips. So the next bag of chips I open up, I have some sour cream with it. I just wish, mm, well, maybe you should stay away from them because I'm addicted to these things, and I really gotta stop. I gotta stop eating a whole lot of chips. But the problem is, I can't. I just love them so much. But yeah, I've gotten to the point where I still do eat the regular salted kind if I can't find lightly salted at all. Because if I can't find them wavy, then I'll get the regular ones. But if I can't find, either one, then I resort back to regular Lay's or hers. And now I notice the difference. They're just really, really salty. And I love this other snack that I've been getting. It's a health food snack, but it's also high in salt, which is called O Snap carrot cutie carrot cuties. They're like little baby carrots, but they're dipped in dill pickle juice, which makes them taste awesome, especially with potato chips. Especially when you're having the carrots, the chips, and the chips with your lunch, like a nice sandwich. It tastes great, but it's very high in salt, and I gotta cut back on the salt. But yeah, I haven't played either of those games for a while, but I more than likely will once I start recuperating from knee surgery. Um, um, what's another game? Pokemon Go. I usually start doing that in the springtime and summer until I started having problems with my knees and it made walking, torture. But usually that's a summer game that I love. And all I've been doing is collecting the Pokemon. I have yet to go into battle. I have yet to go into battle mode, with another kid at another gym, and I know what's going to happen. My ass is going to get whooped, and my Pokemon is going to get whooped. And my favorite Pokemon I used to keep with me on the go game. Uh, Sometimes it's Pikachu, and sometimes it's Meowth. I think lately it's been Meowth. Or am I wrong? Wait, which one is it? Meowth or Pikachu? Um, and then I did put solo leveling on my laptop, only to find that it was, it kept glitching and it kept giving me an error code. And then when I went into the reviews of the game, I found out I wasn't the only one. There were other people who were getting the same glitching problems and the same error code problems. So then I said, okay, well, I'll upload it to the phone. You know, most of these games is made for phone anyway. And I went to look it up on the phone, and it said, your phone is not compatible for this game. I'm like, then why the hell did you put this on the game in the first place? What good is it to have the game available, but people can't play it? It was annoying. Wait a minute, 668. Okay. Let me see if I can find it. Yeah, it does suck. Let me see if I can find. Oh, and then I was gonna put the show I was just looking at, Squid Game. I got back into Squid Game. I had watched half of the first episode, but then I stopped and I just didn't go back until a couple of weeks ago when season 2 was coming out. And I ended up binge watching season 1 like a couple days before the new season came out. Then the new season came out. I binged through that through a weekend, and then I found out I couldn't put the game on my again. I couldn't put it on my tablet or my phone. I'm like, well, what the hell is this? why why have them in the app, if in the app, uh, the game app, if you can't get through it? It just really ticked me off. Cool. No, wait. Mhm. Yeah, it wasn't bad. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Which one? Um, I ain't never got into Euphoria. Although the girl who's Spider Man's girlfriend, she's very pretty. Her, she's in that, and she's in the Dune remake with Timothy Chalamet, who I think is really really cute. But I can't tell if he's gay or straight or bi or what. Damn it! Now I forgot what I was looking up. Well, I can look back on Solo Leveling. Wait, okay, wait a minute. Here's Squid Game. Yeah, they have all of these fake Squid Game uh, 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 apps or game like apps, but it's not the real one, and it won't come on. It can't come on my phone. And what was the other one? 75, 576 survival challenge game. Okay, and then solo leveling. Okay, this app won't work on your device. I don't even know what any of that is. I just know I can't put it on here. Oh Lord! And look what I find pops up: the One Piece game. This one's called One Piece Bounty Rush. Uh-huh. Oh.